G'day guys, before we hop into today's vlog, I just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. From now on, I'm going to be putting out daily vlogs every single day. I'm going to be tracking my process, playing these 1-2-6 max games, hopefully moving up in stakes. But even if I don't, you'll get to watch me fall on my face every single day on this YouTube channel. So make sure you hit subscribe so you get the new videos as they come out every single day. For now, onto the vlog. G'day guys, welcome back to the vlog. It's currently 6:15 AM here on yet another cold Melbourne morning. As usual, pretty tired, pretty hungry, but it's alright because we're about to fix up a feed for myself. I got salmon this morning, so that's definitely going to put me in a good mood. After that though, I'm going to hit in and play the poker, but for now, let's get in the feed. Okay, so it's about 6:30 AM now at the moment. Feeling much better after getting that feed in. I don't have salmon very often, but when I do, well, it's one of my favourite foods, so definitely put me in a good mood. Definitely still keen to go and grind some poker. The goal for today, the 1,500 hands as always, and the A grade level play. I think to get the A grade level play today, I'm going to have to do what I always say I should do, practice self-talk, make sure I'm responding to what my opponent's strategy is and trying to counteract that in a efficient way. That's all I have to do to get that A grade level play. Just do that every single hand. Can't be that hard, right? So we're going to hop in now and see if we can go do it for the 1,500 hands today. Let's go. G'day everyone, it's currently about 4:20 dude and I've just wrapped up my second session for the day. Ended up playing a total of 6 hours and 38 minutes for a grand total of 1,592 hands. So yet again we do beat the 1,500 hand goal for the day. Got that over with. Yes, in terms of results from the session however, still stoked with those as well. It is a win of 385. Obviously, I'm stoked with that over the course of the day. But in terms of my gameplay grade for the session, still stoked yet again. I'm going to give myself an A for the gameplay grade today. I said at the start of this session, as long as I stayed focused, used self-talk, and counteracted my opponent's strategy in an efficient way, if I was able to do that for the 1,500 hands, I would give myself an A. I'm very happy to say that that's exactly what I did. I do feel like I was focused throughout the session. I do feel like I was having an inner dialogue that was very logical and reasonable, and it came to a result where I was able to efficiently counteract my opponent's strategy in the best way possible, at least in my opinion. Maybe not in one hand, that we'll get into in a minute, where I'm not quite sure, but if I did make a mistake, I think it was in a situation where I just wasn't sure. I don't think I was ever feeling like tilted or making decisions because I was upset or chasing losses, any of that type of stuff. So very happy with today's session and I feel like I earned that A. So like I said, I was pretty happy with my performance in today's session. I do think I made mistakes. However, of course, I'm not a GTO robot or anything, but the mistakes I did make, I think they had more to do with, I was just a bit confused by the spot I was in rather than me being tilted or fatigued or anything like that. And I think this next hand is a great example of one of the hands where I was just very confused and I might have made a mistake, but even to this point, I'm still not sure with my line. So the action falls to me in the cutoff. I have ace-king offsuit. I go ahead and raise it up to 5. And then I get a cold call from the button. And we go heads up to a flop of jack-jack 4. The action's on me here, and I think I already have a pretty interesting decision, whether to c-bet or check. Obviously, I don't want to inflate the pot that much with ace-high here, even though I probably do have the best hand on this board in particular. So that might be a reason I like checking, but I actually like betting small for the same reasons as well. Plus, betting small also has the added incentive of I might potentially get my opponent to fold a hand like 8-7, for example, which is a hand that can turn a pair and then beat us. We sort of don't want to let that happen for free. So that's why I do decide to go ahead and c-bet a small size. I go ahead and make it 3. And then my opponent raises it up to 12. Wasn't really expecting to be raised in that spot. I think my opponent potentially could be doing it with, well, obviously they could be doing it with a jack. Obviously that's probably the hand they're trying to represent, but it is somewhat possible that they're also trying to do it with one of their pocket pairs they cold call with, which I think is all the pocket pairs potentially from 5s all the way up through 10s. I think are all pocket pairs they could potentially be doing this with, although I think some of those hands might just call, being concerned that I could have a jack or a better over pair, but raising does make some sense to them. So considering that though, I do think it is also somewhat possible that they are bluffing here, that they have taken my small bet as a sign of weakness and figure if I do have a lot of ace high hands, they can sort of raise to try and get me to fold those. So with all that in mind, I do decide to call here with ace king, being it is the strongest ace high I have. If my opponent is sort of raising this bet because it looks weak, and he could potentially be doing it with a worse ace high hand. So I think ace king is a good ace high to call with. So I do throw in the call, which brings us to a turn, which is the 9 of hearts, putting out the backdoor flush draw. I go ahead and check it over to the villain, and then they keep betting at it. They go ahead and make it 33. So obviously a pretty big bet here, and I think this is actually already like the third decision in the hand where I am a bit confused and I don't quite know what the best option, but I think this is the most difficult spot on this street, whether to call the bet or fold the bet with ace high. The reasons I would like folding are pretty obvious. My opponent is representing a lot of strength here with raising the flop and putting in such a big bet on the turn. They definitely have a bunch of jacks in their range, jack 10, queen jack, king jack, ace jack. That's a lot of jacks that they can potentially have here. So if anyone just folded this street, I would not blame them at all. I think that's a fine play. I think calling's fine too, just because, like I said on the flop, I think my opponent could potentially be bluffing a lot with the flop raise. And when the turns are 9 hearts, putting out the backdoor flush draw, like a lot of the hands that he did raise the flop with are going to pick up equity on this turn. And what I mean by that is, if they did raise the flop with a hand like queen 10 or ace 2 of hearts, for example, like those hands have picked up draws on this turn. So obviously they're going to keep betting and go ahead and bomb the turn. And the reason I like calling with this hand in particular is because I don't have the ace of hearts and I don't have the king of hearts. So that just means it's more likely that my opponent did pick up a flush draw on the turn, or they do have like a king queen is also another good hand they could potentially be bluffing with here. So because I have this specific ace king, that kind of entices me to hero call, at least on this street. So that's what I do. I go ahead and throw in the call, and we are still heads up to the river. And the river is the 2 of clubs. So obviously a pretty big brick. I go ahead and check it over to my opponent again. Then the opponent goes ahead and bets 60. The action's back on me here, and I can see why a lot of people might just think this is a very, very trivial, easy fold with ace high. How we even get to the river with ace high. And I completely understand that. My opponent has represented a lot of strength up until this point, and they do have a bunch of jacks in their range, like I said earlier. So I wouldn't fault anyone for faulting here. In fact, that might be the better play. Like I said, a bit confused in this spot, not quite sure what the best play is, but I do decide to call with the ace high on the river. And my reason for doing so is the same as it was on the turn. All those turns that picked up equity, all those draws rather, that picked up equity on the turn, they all bricked on the 2 of clubs river. Like all the queen 10s, all the king queens, like they all missed on this river. So if you bluff for those on the turn, like why wouldn't he go ahead and bluff the river? Like it looks like he has a jack. Why wouldn't he, keep bluffing on this river in particular? So with all that in mind, I decide to put my foot down and I do call with the ace high, only for my opponent to show jack 10. So yeah, obviously they were raising the flop with trips, and my read that ace high was good here was wrong in this specific spot, but still not sure how I feel about the play regardless of this. My logic that if they did pick up equity on the turn, they will bet big. That might be true, but then again, maybe they're just doing it because they did flop trips. I'm really not sure about this spot. So I am very curious about your opinion on this hand. So hop down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my entire line with ace high. Do you like calling the river with ace high? Would you rather fold the river with ace high? Let me know in the comments down below. Always love hearing from you guys. For now, that's going to wrap up the vlog. Thank you so much for watching as always. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel so much. For now, I'm out of here. Peace.